We were able to make it live, Gwen and I, first time ever live dialogue. Thank you for all of you who are tuning in. I'm just going to open up the why behind this video. Gwen was willing to hop on literally last second. I reached out to her 2 hours ago and I just got this bling from the universe, like reach out to Gwen, connect to Gwen, do a talk with Gwen. And I was sitting in the park in Ashland and I was skimming through the web, which isn't something I do every day. But today I was like, just look what's going on because I was feeling really, really heavy energies this morning, like ancient darkness coming up for me. And so I just started looking for inspiration online. And then I saw that all these beings that I usually get inspiration from were sharing horrible things. And I was like, oh my God, like, how is it even possible that we choose higher vibrational timelines or that we use our psychic abilities or our pineal gland or imagination, our gift of free will, if we're being showered in predictions of what's happening tomorrow, what's happening in a week from now? And I was like, whoa, okay, this sounds like it's really overwhelming. And my brain started going into fear of like, well, take this and this, like this is going down, this is going down, this is going down. Just listen to what's happening in the collective, take action, and don't be stupid. And it felt like death in my body. And then I remembered, like, okay, creator, like, show me why, what can I do? Why is my soul here at this time? And when I felt into the authenticity of it, it's like, I was like, why are these light beings and these light teachers feeding the grid and the human psyche with such negative predictions? Don't they know about the human capacity to imagine, create, and feel, and therefore affect our toroidal field from the inside out? Why would they be spewing these harsh capitalized titles when it didn't happen yet and all there is this moment? And rather than going into like smallness, I started expanding and I tuned into guidance and I was like,
Mm.
okay, well, maybe it's not known and maybe that's my part to share, is that no matter what's happening, we have the authority, free will to impact, penetrate what is happening. And I was like, I'm so not in the best shape to record videos. I need like support. Like, who is out there that would be on my wavelength and
Mhm.
gets the power of play? And Gwen just popped up immediately. And so Gwen is a miraculous sparkle being and creator and guide and channeler and so much more. And I'll fill in her details in the description box so you can see how you can contact her and learn more about her. And I'd just really love to play her today. I'm so grateful that you were just like, yep,
Mm.
let's hop on a live to like play, like to talk about all these stories coming up, all these narratives, especially when it's from trustworthy beings that we've been following for years and they're beings of the light, or like we don't know what AI can do these days. Like AI could be generating anything right now on its own, like copy
Mhm.
pasting faces and it looks just as real. So knowing all this without like how I'd love to invite, hello Lance, hello Javier, thank you for anyway, interesting comments. Hello. And to see like what's coming up for you in regards to this topic,
Mm.
Gwen.
Yeah, I love that you're sharing this. I try to guard myself a lot with social media and what I watch and what I see, but it's hard when the titles are running across your screen and uh, some of them I've seen a lot of words like, it's going to be crazy, it's going to be colossal, these words, um, these kinds of words that are showing up a lot around. But my guides have actually been playing with me a little bit surrounding this because
Mm,
uh, they really have been. In fact, let's see, the end of September, I was doing some inner work, and I was like, I really need some inner healing. I something big needs to shift within me right now because this has been intense. Another word that's used a lot, intense, right? And
yeah.
and and so that night I was sleeping, and this has never happened to me. I was laying there and I was having this conversation in a dream, and suddenly I saw a little a little cartoon alien in his spaceship fly down in front of my view, and it was like, "Hello," and then it said September 27th and 28th, and it just stood there. It was like a print, right across the film of what I was watching, and it didn't go away. A lot of times when I have dreams and I'm being told something, I'm like, "Okay, I've got to remember, I've got to remember." It would not leave. It was just
Whoa.
hanging out there forever, it felt like, and I got up, I'm like, "What is this? What is going on?" And I'm like, "Does that mean that the aliens are coming on that date? Or what does that mean?" Right?
Mhm.
And those days came, and, I was they were telling me, "Just pay attention, right? Pay attention." And, actually, near both of those nights were intense for me. There was a lot of healing, but I was still, like, waiting for the event, quote, unquote, right?
Mhm.
Some kind of event was supposed to be happening. And I was laughing to myself on the last night because I was like, I don't know if some event was supposed to happen, but because I was so determined something was going to happen, I was hounding my guys. I was saying, "This healing gets to happen now." Right?
Mm.
I was like demanding, I was saying, "This is what it gets to happen." And there was actually huge healing that I felt because of it. And so
Mm.
I had this weird experience with that, saying, "You know what? My guides tease me into investing in certain ways." And I think some
Mm.
of these things that we get told are ways to say, how are we going to really invest in ourselves? What are
Mm.
we really going to do? If the collective of a person, or if we're allowed within our core and within our body to totally just hone in on something and say, this is the creative shift. This is going to be a creative change right here. What are we going to be investing in?
Mm.
And so I kind of had it look that way. That was kind of a little kind of play, I think, that my guys were
Mm.
founding that. And then afterwards, I was, like, listening to someone, and they're like, "No, it's 2026 and, 2027 and 28 when the aliens are gonna come." And I'm like, "Huh, maybe it's that." Well, that helps me have a new investment in those 2 years of something big is gonna happen, right?
Mm.
And it kind of helps lead along, uh, in a way, my investment and my self-discovery. But then that leads us to the point of, what are we investing in?
Mhm.
What are we wanting to occur? What kind of shifts are we wanting to see in the world? That's a little
Yeah.
been happening with me.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I love when you're telling the story, I just felt like this, first of all, this like energy of innocence and wonder, like through the whole
Mhm,
story, which is so beautiful to experience that that's how you experience depths of challenge and healing and how you communicate with your guides, just like you sharing that story. There's so many golden nuggets in there. And
mhm,
also, I absolutely love how in your story it is talking about dates. Like you got your own predictions of dates, and there are all these predictions now of dates. I saw Bashar predicting, I don't even want to say what, like, I've seen very specific dates all morning with predictions. That was just from
mhm,
like being online for 5 minutes because I wanted to find inspiration. And I'm like, oh, all the people I follow are like turned into the negative news. Like, what's happening? And so there was a point with these specific deadlines and dates that created an urgency for me to show up. And so I had a choice point where maybe I'd been floating through time space in a little more, I'll call it mediocre way, like not a
yeah,
big deal, like I can show up for my weekly meet with the people that work with me, or like no big deal. I can just like do my live next Monday on YouTube. No big deal, like everything's fine. And then this jolted me into a sense of urgency with deadlines. I'm like, I need to do something that's gonna spread a lot of light before this date. Like, I need to do this with Gwen. I need to reach out to Gwen today, like, before I finish a cup of coffee. Like, so
mhm,
it created this urgency with the question of, like, how are you going to invest? I love that word that, like, it almost felt like the guides are playing with you, like tickling at you, like with that maybe all this is like tickling at us to create this sense of evolution of like how are we investing our attention and intention in life,
Mhm.
and that we get to see it as, oh, that's bullshit, or oh, they're bad, or like, oh, this is wrong, this is right. It's more of like, wait, what am I going to be investing the value of my attention and intention, which I like calling the AI. It's like, how am I going to invest my AI?
Yeah, I love that. AI. Yeah, as you were talking, I imagine myself getting zapped in the butt with a little zapper. It's like, okay, stop with, sometimes we get caught up in our little inner world and it's like, okay, but what are you creating? Zap, zap, zap. you know,
Yeah.
what are you moving forward to? For you, my curious is, what it sounds like you're talking about is this initiation of fear, and you're afraid of this experience of fear doing something in the collective and with you personally. What's happening with
Mm.
that inside of you? Like, is there a history of that? Are you feeling like it's going to lead you down a certain road that it isn't going to be
Mm.
beneficial?
Yeah, I mean, I thank you for asking. You have such good questions always. I moved from Israel when I grew up with war, and I grew up with like violence as a casualty, and
Yeah.
guns and bombs, and um yeah, I thought like the world would always be that way and has always been this way and will always be that way. And I kind of left in a mode of massive PTSD, and it's been years where I'm tuning into what freedom is and liberation is and peace, and how can we use our internal power for affecting this. Like I am very excited to explore the depth of what we're capable of as
Yeah.
humans to actually create impact and not necessarily just consent. I grew up watching the news all day, and like, okay, the war is going to break out next week, the war is going to break out, and it just happens. And I come from the film and theater industry in Israel, and so I know how easy it is for humans to create footage for different agendas and for raising money, and people just perceive it as real and aren't aware that everybody is actually playing a game. Everybody is playing a game, and we don't have to consent to games that are the most horrific. So my nervous system is very sensitive to how media can affect the collective consciousness and create things as real. And
Hmm.
and I know that from different angles. And so yeah, there was fear in me of like, oh my God, well, go fill up your car with gas and go do this, go do that, like take care of yourself. But what it leads me to feel when I operate from that fear, for me, it doesn't feel authentic to my soul because I'm investing my life force in that game. I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, what do I need to play this game? I need a full tank of gas. Okay, what do I need? And now Matt Kahn says a lot that the worst things that happen, like we don't even know they're gonna happen. There's like no way of really knowing when actual things happen. We're not gonna be like prepared for it. It just is part of nature's unfolding in the present moment. And so to live out of, I feel like these things, it upsets me a little too to know that,
Hmm.
like, wait, what are you doing with the human attention and consciousness? I feel like there's a fear of people to just be an unknown. And so they're compulsively creating and
Mm.
to have a sense of
Thinking.
realness.
Yeah.
And it happens to a lot of light beings and way showers that I watch them and I'm like, oh, they got caught. Like they just want to pump out material. I see it and I'm like, oh my God, they're in fight or flight mode. And they're like, just like, bum, 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 top news, end of days in a week. Like, I'm like, who do you serve? What do you serve? Why? So,
Yeah.
yeah. How does
Uh,
that land
I'm
for
I'm
you?
hearing you talk about this crisis feeling and your sensories and your nervous system, which is a part of like how we translate things and how we manage life, right? We enter into the fight or flight, and yes, people being when they're in that, they will continue to create. They'll create out of that sense of what am I going to grab? What's near me that I can grab? And I've seen this with myself. I
Mhm.
mean, my guides have shown me directly how I'll do that. I'll be sitting in the space of blank openness, doing my work, trying to see into the stories, trying to see into different things. And then suddenly some thought will come along and say, wait a minute, you're supposed to be a creator. Like, why aren't you in a relationship if you value it, right? Why are
Oh.
you in this relationship? And the first thing I jump for is, oh, there must be something wrong with me. But
Mm.
that's a, what do they call it? It's almost like, uh, oh, I'm trying to come up with a word. It's like the go-to. It's the pattern that you don't see, that's just there ready to jump onto because you want to have an answer. And I just bought into jumping into taking action, and I just followed that loop, right?
Oh.
I just followed I just followed that line of thinking that was available, that was set up, I don't know how long ago, whatever. It wasn't necessarily the truth of what I was or what I was doing or anything, but I just started following along with that. And maybe some of these things that are just been programmed in us, we're seeing them being activated out.
Mm.
We're just seeing them for what they are. Um, but the key is, do we buy into it, right?
Mhm.
Are we buying into it? When we see that activated out, do we have enough within our presence to like sit and know our nervous system enough to say, okay, well, what is my world?
Yeah. Yeah. What is my world? What is my world? And like doing what is my world for me, like in the name of service. Like how is this my world
Yeah.
creating in the name of service? Then it gets really creative
Yeah.
because you're part of the collective puzzle. Because I feel like,
I'm sorry. Something just came through me. It's
yeah.
something awesome. I mean, what if there were, what if we put out 10 videos that were just like, in 10 days, Archangel Michael is going to heal me from this, or blah, 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 just like totally boom, boom, boom,
That's
boom.
kind of funny and fun,
Now,
like warnings, but for good things.
yeah, warning, don't go to the river or you'll be healed, whatever.
That's funny. It's funny because that's like a sense of urgency too, like,
Yeah.
"Warning!" And then, like, it puts the fight or flight, like, in action, like, certain colors too, like red, capital letters, like, "Warning, next time you sit on a chair, you're gonna experience, like, your soul coming into your body, no matter what you do."
Soul retrieval when you sit on the toilet.
"Warning, soul retrieval when you sit on the toilet." Oh my god, that's really funny. That's actually a good sticker to actually put on toilets.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, soul retrieval device. You can put it on the lid, so when you open on inside of the lid, so when you open it up, you see it on the
That's
back.
very funny. Gwen, make that shit. That's good. It's
Oh
really funny.
gosh. Oh my gosh. We just broke through the into the play. We broke through
We
into,
did.
you know,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
this shit doesn't have to be so heavy. I mean, really.
Mhm.
I mean, anything can mean anything to us. And whatever we assign, we get to play in what we assign meaning to and what we
Right.
assign to things, right? And that's part of the discovery that, that I enjoy in play, because really it's up to us. You know,
Mhm.
people have all kinds of meanings for things. People will look at a gate, an entrance to a house, and will have all kinds of ideas.
Mhm.
Oh, ghosts live at that gate, or if you open that gate, then it means this, or we assign so many different things. Well, we can play with this in our lives.
Mhm.
And as we play with it, the delight itself can carry us through.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like I love how you just worded that. It's just such word medicine, and it feels really actually embodied with you that it is the way that you are. It is your way of life. And it's like, whoa, okay, that's what that game feels like. So everybody, ta-da, that's what it feels like. I want to kind of bring up like why people don't. Like it's like people can go into self-bashing, self-hating, like, oh my God, it's all a play. Oh my God, something really must be wrong with me then, right? So it's a very delicate dance. And, there
Mhm.
are all these programs around waking up to the fact that we have the power to play with our responses to what's unfolding. I feel like one of them is like not having any ground. Like, well, what is truth? Like, well, what is
Mhm.
real? And it can feel like a death, or it can feel like almost like a dissociation of going into the void if there's no what? Like everything's an illusion, and it's like, and it we can lose a sense of connection or groundedness, or even guilt and shame can come up when we tap into our ability and our power to play with life and play with our responses. It can also be overwhelmingly chaotic, like when you know how much is possible. So I'm curious, because I can go on about this. What do you recommend in terms of if a person is like, oh my God, what do you mean I can play? Because the responses will usually be like, oh, you're bypassing, you're not being realistic. Look at the evidence. And they'll like hold on to all of it, right? And they'll end up feeding the game that's creating torture for their soul even more as an opposing
Mhm.
force to this. So I'm curious, like, what you would recommend to someone that's like about to have that response, being like, you crazy, you saying I can play with anything? Well, no, because of all these reasons.
Well, I don't hang out with a lot of people who have that full attitude.
Oh.
I mean, when it comes down to it, but, um, I love what you were talking about, this feeling of, not feeling grounded, like if nothing is real, that kind of thing. I've been a Buddhist and a Zen Buddhist, was a Zen Buddhist for a very long time. And there's a certain kind of koan that people go through when they enter into this experience and they're like, oh my God, nothing's real, kind of an experience.
Mhm.
And that's when the master gets out his hitting stick and whacks him on the back and says, "Well, what was that?" You know, "Well, what was that?" You know,
Oh.
um, and so we're playing a game where when we talk about expanding into our multidimensionality, what we include in is actually also our form. Our form is not left out of it. This is a part of how we experience life. And so for me, the key isn't denying. It isn't in denying something.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's in it's in either listening and hearing into the root of what's underneath it. Like, oh, is there a fear underneath this? Or is there an anxiety? Or what's underneath this? What's trying to
Mm.
be shared? Is there any wisdom in it for me? If there isn't, that's cool. Okay.
Mhm.
Either listening and hearing that, and then from my own self, if there is wisdom, I just simply take it and then decide for myself, because we get to always bring it back to myself. Okay, but in my body and what I'm doing, I always get to come back to myself, whether I'm feeling it in my
Mm.
gut. And I like to go to my creative center and my heart and simply
Mhm.
say, okay, well, I just learned something, and I'm going to sit with this long enough to hear now, well, what naturally do I want to do next?
Mm.
It's not, it doesn't have to be uh, anything big or crazy, but when I enter in that joyful, playful, whatever, it's just actually me
Mm.
de-stressing the urgency
Mhm.
of
Yeah.
bond so quickly. That's all I'm doing,
Mm.
is I'm taking that charge off of it. And that's all I'm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's so good. De-stressing.
Yeah.
All you're doing is
I-
taking the next action
yeah.
of how you want to move forward
Yeah.
with that energy, with yourself.
Yeah.
That's how.
And it's just in me just helping remove any charge that I feel. It's just
Beautiful.
removing the charge,
Yeah,
removing the charge.
beautiful.
Charge is a polarity, is the polarization.
Mhm,
Right. It's
mhm.
the demand, the saying you have to do this or this. It's
Yeah,
removing I don't
yeah,
I don't have to do that or that. I can do this.
yeah, the third option,
I can do
which does.
that. I can do that. One thing that I was just chatting with someone and it came out today, the episode in Welcome to Channeling. It was so cool because I was talking with her and I was saying, well, how do you know? How can you tell when someone's really entering into their wholeness really well? And I loved what she said. She said, because they start seeing all of the choices.
Oh,
They
beautiful.
in choice. They aren't
Mm,
polarized. They aren't saying I have to do this or that. They start seeing all of the choices.
mhm,
And as we start to see all of the choices, this polarization diminishes.
mm.
We don't have to be bound by that.
Yeah.
Can you feel that sinking in? I feel it.
Mhm. Yeah. Feels very nourishing, soothing, still, calm,
Hmm.
and I'd like to add on to that, to
Hmm.
highlight with what you just shared. For
Yeah.
me, in my experience, it's like the next choice that usually will get me out of the polarization is very, very simple, sometimes illogical. Like,
Mm.
after I messaged you, because it was very logical because I wanted to connect with you, but I'm, like, traveling, my dad's waiting for me because 'cause I'm meeting, like, I had all the reasons why not to, in a way, and then the next step I took, I was like, "Oh, that felt really good," is to prioritize taking a salt bath in the middle of the day,
Hmm.
and in the salt bath, it was just exactly what was needed to, um, dismantle the polarization and to give my body an immediate feeling of, "Oh, anything is possible, and I'm in neutrality, and I can
Hmm.
choose." I feel like so much of life has been, at least for me and people I know, that if you feel a charge in life, that means you're being productive. That means you're making something happen. That means you're valuable. That means you're loved. And
Hmm.
some people won't get out of the polarity because there are all these associations that will give them all these things. Like, it has all these benefits if you play in the polarity game. And in Gene Keys and also in human design, they talk about the metamorphosis that we're going through with our solar plexus, which is neutralizing. It's like we're learning how to operate with, like, just neutrality.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I'm
Mhm.
what you're talking about, and something jumped out because this polar people play in polarization, that they talk about polarization. Okay.
Mm.
And there's a difference, and this is about discernment. There's a difference between polarization that makes you fight against something or say, I'm going to do the opposite of this,
Mm.
and polarization that's occurring, or magnetism that's occurring because you inherently are finding beauty in a certain meaning in yourself and you're excited about it. You're like,
Mm.
this be expressed. I'm super excited. And you're feeling that movement of energy,
Mhm.
whatever that comes with that. And so there's a difference. Some people get confused between the two, right?
Mhm.
Instead of
Yeah.
deeper meaning, and you're like, oh, this is so interesting. I'm so excited. Let's do this. And feeling like you have to fight against something because something's wrong, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
where you have to make a stand, right?
Yeah.
And if you think you have to make a stand, it's something that you get to pay attention to. I sometimes get to make a stand in saying, "Oh, this isn't working right. The tension here is going in the wrong, it's not going in a way
Mm.
to be productive." But that's a little bit different. That's me saying and discerning and saying, "No, I get to scooch over here." Right.
Mhm.
I get to scooch over here. So these are little things little tools that we get to start seeing into to help see, am I is my investment in what I'm investing in my energy being absconded, being pulled into someone else's regime?
Mm-hmm.
I get
Yeah.
to respond in a certain way, right?
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where we're like, oh, okay, we are starting to get really educated. We get to be educated and say, oh, where am I investing? Like, am I
Mm-hmm.
pulled into someone else's regime, or am I really just handling my system? Am I handling my system and creating my world from there? Because I'd rather do
Yeah.
my world and what I want to create than having my energy being invested into someone else's regime.
Oh, oh, so good.
I've got my drum. Let's get jumping.
I absolutely love that whole journey. I feel like everything you just shared was actual pathway that we walked, like whoever watches this. And I
Mhm.
felt like you were taking me like with the words. And I love that you pointing out and want to highlight and add, am I operating in my world or giving my energy to another's regime? And for me, the way my psyche translates this same experience is authenticity. Like for me, because I feel like we each access these things in different languaging. So I want to like expand the basket and like it's exactly kind of what it's just exactly what you're saying. And for me, the way it comes to me is like, okay, authenticity, what's authentic to my energy right now? Like what creates ease in my system? Because when I'm in ease, I'm in my harmonic self. Because
Mm.
nature, it's like this easeful, harmonious. So what is authentic to me and harmonious to me? And I find it something that lit up when you're talking also is, am I in someone else's regime? That sense of urgency of our energy being pulled into something massive almost catalyzes us coming back into our body and being like, "Oh, no, like, oh, I have to share my inspiration." Like, and I also love that you mentioned it's not a polarization because there's a lot of activism. Like I know a lot of activists and heroes and they're doing amazing things. I'm not against what they're doing, but there is some energy of like, oh, this feels like fear and war and like it's creating more of the opposite force that they're fighting. And when I find myself creating from that space, I'm like, oh my God, I just fed the narrative that I didn't want to feed
Yeah,
by judging it,
yeah.
by saying it's
I
bad, and
support.
by giving it all my power.
Yeah.
And so it's really delicate game to be like, okay, that is how it's not about denying narratives. It's about normalizing. I'd like to say it as we're normalizing infinite possibility. We're normalizing that like, okay, like we don't need to fight about what's real and what's not. Like we each have the birthright to co-create and create and tune into realities and experiences like just like you say, I'm not around those people a lot. I tend to hang around some conflict sometimes because I guess I think there's like a benefit to me learning how to articulate like in different ways, but we get to land in planets that, and I feel like that's what I resonate when I hear like, oh, we're actually in a time space where we're like going to land on a certain planetary system that is based off how we're investing our energy.
Mhm.
I feel like we're kind of at a train station right now of like, okay, where are you putting your value? Like, you know, the doors will be closing soon. So I do kind of resonate with that playfully, not through urgency, but I like playing with like, ooh, like, where am I hopping on? Which planet with how I'm investing my attention and energy? And it's like a lot of it is about relationships. Like, oh, I want to go to where Gwen is going. I want to go where Gwen is going. I can feel her. Like, I can
Yeah.
feel you beyond the physical time space of like, I'm on board with what her vibration is investing in. So it's
That
not about,
that means aliens, dude. That means
yeah,
aliens.
I just, yeah. Oh, aliens, come,
Uh,
come now. Do you have an experience recently with that of a next level connection that you're having
well,
or something?
And because I channel all kinds of beings, and so I mean, there's Palladians, there's all kinds of different beings, and so yeah. Are you
Do you
looking?
feel like sharing a channel now?
Oh yeah, let's do it. Let's see. I'm gonna take a little drink of water here. Let's see what comes through.
Yay.
Water, so good. Water, so good. Mm,
Oh,
yeah, I'm actually curious if I'm gonna see if Zeb is hanging out. Zeb, are you here?
who?
Zeb. Okay,
Zeb.
dude. Okay, you got it. Zeb is the Anunnaki. Okay, you guys. If
What?
you want, if you want a real wake up call, okay, okay,
Okay.
real wake up call. I have never met an entity more playful than this Anunnaki. Okay, never.
Wow.
Okay, and
Okay.
of course, he's a hybrid because they're investing in this hybrid stuff, shit that goes on. Okay. Anyway, so let's see if he comes through. I
Okay.
might have to take my hat off. we're
Okay.
we're talking about crown stuff. Okay, let's see who's coming through here. Okay. Okay, guys, is there anyone ready here? Okay, it's just the analyum for right now. Okay,
What is it?
analyum. This is my core pillar, and so they're talking here now. Okay. Gwen, yes, Gwen, we are here. We are here with you, and this Leela Rose, and there are many here who are watching with you. And we wanted to speak to you concerning this idea of prediction, predictiveness, and that people are throwing out these ideas, wanting to give someone something concrete to hold on to. Yes, this is what is occurring now because we are in a space of kind of what has been unknown before. You and the people of Earth are entering into ways that many people have looked forward to, yet at the same time, there is no precedence for them, and so it is if as if people are reaching around in the dark, just as you expressed, Gwen, earlier, and grabbing a hold of anything they can get their hands onto, so to speak, in order for them to find something solid that they can use to walk forward with. And this idea of these predictions is also a sign of what we have spoken to before with you, Gwen, concerning how when one is in this state of unidentifying yourself, one of not knowing what you are, one of question, one of not knowing, oftentimes, what we did and what we did as a young child was we looked outwardly. We looked outwardly for signs for us to help interpret what life was and to understand what was going on. And so, these people, this is exactly what they're doing. And this is natural, a natural part of being a human. But we encourage people now to look inwardly into their creative centers, recognizing that they are the masters of what comes forward. They are the masters of what is next in this earth experience. And this is what is people are being called to right now to do is to see into their power, into their creative ability, and call forth that which would bring them love, life, and ease, that which would help direct them to build stronger, more peaceable communities where people love and enjoy each other. One where they believe and understand that we have all of the environmental things that we need, including food, clothing, and all of the material necessities that are needed in order for us to thrive. And we may develop ways that we may thrive that are not so complicated as we have had in our lives before, and we may be assured that we can lean on each other as we develop positive attributes and walk in virtuous ways. This is a simple way that we can speak about this. And as we are speaking, we are now feeling Zeb come in. He is trying to speak through us now, and he has something to bring in too. Here comes Zeb. Zeb is happy to be here. Hello, I am Zeb. I am Zeb. I am Zeb. I am here and I am so happy to speak to you, all of you, the many of you who are here. And I am here to speak to you of the joy of the creativity that you are. For you are creativity in action. In action. Yes, we say action for when you take action. Your creativity blooms, and in your action, as you invest in your action, bringing the minute ideas, the very tiny speckles of light with you, and strive to bring them forth into action, even if it is you learning how to breathe differently, you learning how to breathe a new way, you whispering a loving thought into your neighbor's ear, whatever it is, you hanging up a loving sign on your fence post, whatever it is, this is you in your creative action. This is you in your spark. And we here, including I, because I am a voice for many, we encourage you to take these little small actions that feel positive, positive, trusting in that all is well, trusting in that life is good, trusting in that the new world, this love that is in you, may be shared with all. And it is simply in small little actions that expand dramatically that this may occur. And even when life looks down, even when systems change, even when you feel like things are different than what you feel they should be, you may look into it as an opportunity for a life that you always dreamed could be, but thought couldn't be because the whole system was telling you no. What are your ideas about this? What kind of world would you like to live in? How would you like to support each other? These are simple thoughts, simple ideas that we can bring to the forefront in our actions. And we wish you blessings and joy, and we tell you to play, play, try things out, and you will feel what feels good to you, and then this will expand and your life will simply feel better. And this is the message I have for you today. And all here nod in thanks for you listening. Thank you very much. I am Zeb. I am of the Anunnaki. Do not think that we are the enemy. The ones who have come before, who have treated you maliciously, are gone. They are no longer here, for they are not invested in the love that is here now. And it is that simple. You need not be afraid. And so we say bye bye.
Bye. Wow, thank you.
That was Sam. I haven't channeled him in a minute, but he is so funny.
Wow, what a lit energy. Both of that, oh, those are so nourishing and beautiful. I'm so happy that you brought all that energy through you.
Yeah, I'm like,
I was feeling like tingles in my back on my skin, and it was like, I just felt like I was like being readjusted in my energy body into remembrance as I was listening. I'm like, yep, yep, okay. Like, I'm on it.
That's so funny because with the Anunnaki, I haven't had as much healing with any
Oh,
other.
Courtney says thank you.
Oh,
Yay. Thank
so
you, love. Thank you for being here.
how are you? It's so nice. Um, but yeah, like it's so interesting. Like there are some entities where there's so much healing that comes in the system, and that's something that
Mm,
with the Anunnaki that I've experienced. It's been amazing. So yeah, now,
wow.
now I can put my little hat back on.
Yeah. So it's so cool that your playful spirit, of course, like you, the playful you that you are able to channel an energy that is like considered bad by so many. And like, who knows what people say if it's real or not? And you were able to access
My hat.
channeling this like super playful creative energy because of
Yeah.
how you're open to play. And I really feel called to highlight something about play. So when people hear
Hmm.
play, a lot
Hmm.
of times like, that's it's like they they think it's like, oh, let's play a game, like like, there's an association to the word play, and I'd like to highlight that play actually is like exploring different exploring different choices, exploring different thoughts, allowing wonder and curiosity to be the fuel of your operating system.
Mm,
So, playing could actually be a very serious thing. You might end up channeling messages that will save a soul, or like you might end up, taking on some, but and I feel like what comes through is continuously reminding humanity it's all a game. It's all a creative game. Like there is an ultimate truth, but how we express the truth coming through us, it's a very playful process. It could feel very playful. And through play we can like tap into that natural resonance of what we are. Just like being with you, Gwen, it's like, oh, that's Gwen. Those are the beings she channels. Like it's light and playful, and also it's very potent medicine to be with
mhm,
you during these times and to have you being open enough and playful enough to be you. You. So,
oh, yeah, and I love how you describe play, and I thank you for saying that because Zeb came through maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago, and he's actually helped me push out and be more daring. You think Gwen is just a
mm.
daring person, but, like, Zeb is just, like, "Put it out there, Gwen," and so it's just been really awesome, you know?
Can I talk to him? To Zeb?
Yes! Do you want to Zeb? Yeah, Zeb,
Oh,
okay,
Zeb.
Zeb, yeah. Z-E, Zeb.
Oh, like now?
You wanna talk to him? You can talk to Zeb.
Okay.
Do you wanna channel Zeb? Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't know. I was just wanting to talk to him, not necessarily channel, but just
You
like be
can
like, "Hey,
talk
can
to
I
Zeb.
talk to?" But if you took your hat off, I'm totally down to ask
Yeah,
a
I'm
question.
I'm bringing him in. He's here.
Okay.
It's so funny. He's sending me this image of him, like, sitting and he's, like, eating a snack while watching us.
That's funny.
Like, it's like it's a movie theater, and he's got his, like, Raisinets or something.
That's
Like, "Okay, I'll come sit in the chair with Gwen."
oh, that's funny.
So, yeah, let's go ahead. Zeb, are you willing to Zeb is here. I am
Okay.
willing to talk to this lovely Leela Rose, and anyone else who wishes to speak to me.
Oh.
I'm a very audible. I'm very comfortable with the social situation. So yes, please speak, ask questions, let us dance.
Okay, I'll ask one question because actually my battery is showing red right now. But thank you for being with us, Zeb. I feel like the medicine of your essence is really um potent for us at this time. Um yeah, I'm curious if there's what is the question?
Oh,
How when people are so out of like they're in a certain system, they're in a certain rhythm and it like feels like it's the only reality they can experience, and how can they know the know the value of taking a subtle simple action? Is there a way that we can amplify how, I don't know, how would you word it to people that just don't even hear, like, just take a subtle, simple action that will change the direction of your energy flow? How can we, how can, how can it be shared to inspire them to know the value of a subtle action?
oh. I feel I am here speaking to you, and also there is a Courtney here who I'm speaking to. Yes. We hear you, and I am speaking from many. And as I sit here, of course, I am a playful being. I am very playful. And there are many ways that we can share this with people. And the easiest way for one to do this is for you to be playful, you to walk through the theater, so to speak, when people are watching their movie and simply do something that is unpredictable, but it is loving. It is loving.
Mm.
It is playful. unpredictable but playful. And this often is the simple thing that will help pull someone from their a negative, say, mindset and become curious. For you've pulled them into curiosity. Why would you
Ah.
act in this way? It makes no sense at all, but suddenly I am feeling a little giddy. For some reason, for some reason, this is something new and different to me. It does not make sense. But for some reason, a little speck of joy is rising through my body, and I am feeling myself, and I am not feeling the same as I was before. In fact, I can't even remember what I was before. And the magic of what can happen as we all simply engage in life in this way, offering new insight to people, making them curious, bringing out their curiosity. And I think this is a simple way that we may say this. Of course, you may take out ads on the movie screen. You may say, oh, someone took a breath and pulled over to the side of the road and did a dance, and then they did not have an accident. You can be dramatic if you like. You can send messages if you like about that. People can tell testimonials, but the simple and the most easiest way is when you interact, you offer that spark, that question of curiosity to people. And so this is what we would suggest.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you, Zeb.
You
Thank
are
you for
very
being.
welcome. You are very welcome. We enjoy being here with all of you. You are very creative, beautiful people. And we would mention one thing else. There are those of you who hold a lot of space for what might consider darkness. And we simply ask you, and we simply say you can allow yourself to let that darkness rest into a bed of light, a bed of lovingness, and you can describe what kind of material this is. It may be a soft pillow. It may be a gel which permeates your whole being. It may be any kind of element you desire, anything. For we are creative beings and we create the relief that we are asking for. So, we are saying this also to all of you who are here. There are those who may decide that they need some relief, something to help assist their bodies and their systems to coming back into a balance to receive some nourishment. And so we offer this to you as an also a suggestion of play for yourself, that you see into the power that you already are.
Hmm. Beautiful. Thank you.
I came back.
Wow.
So this is
Ah,
fun.
yeah. I want to just recap on that amazing, amazing tool of like, this is a perfect way to conclude the talk of like, how do we do that through unpredictability?
Mhm,
So, like, how to play with predictions is through
mhm,
unpredictability. Like, we could take subtle, playful actions and
mhm,
inspire curiosity and wonder through unpredictability. I love that. And
mhm.
also, I love that image of the darkness going into light and turning into something. I've never thought of that. Like, it can be a pillow. It could be like mind blowing. Like that darkness can turn into something dense, from
Yeah,
what I understood, and like through light, it can turn into something that like is like a bed almost, or like something
yeah,
we can like let it go, let it be, and
yeah.
let it like absolutely phenomenal. So Courtney's thanking you a lot, thanking a lot.
So
And I comfort the darkness. Beautiful, Courtney. Yeah. So
comfort the
because my mic is connected to my phone and my phone's about to die, I'd just like to conclude this and love to do more of this. But Gwen, thank you so much for showing up. I feel the shifts in the collective field. Your playful, beautiful spirit is such a gift for us all. And I'm going to be sharing her contact details in the description. But is there something you'd like to share with people about what you offer and what you do? I
yeah,
know you have amazing art as well.
yeah. Here's some art of mine.
Ooh.
Really, I've been playing a lot with story, and I'm coming up with some stuff around story. My book, Our New Story, really goes into helping
Mm.
these the stories that aren't serving them. So just what I want to tell people is I dare you to just look up my name. There's billions of things. that are out there that I offer and soul play and everything. So just look me up, look up my name, put Gwen Juvenal in there, and look up one thing that draws your attention. This is a way,
Oh.
okay? And just find something that interests you and check it out because there's so much out there. And I'm expanding as always, but reach out to me if you feel it, and we'd love to play. I'd love to play.
Oh, yay. Thank you to all who tuned in. We couldn't do it without you, like the viewers, you know. So every view and you funneling attention into this pathway in the stream of consciousness, it just embraces you and wraps you and it
Mm.
fuels you. So thank you for watching and thank you for playing this pathway. And so, yeah, I'm Leela Rose, and you're welcome to follow all of Gwen's channels that will be in the description. You're welcome to follow me and just like, subscribe, comment on the video. It really helps spread. Like, you never know how through synchronicity somebody might find something that might really help them and support them and create more ease. I know that my soul was saved because of content online and YouTube, which is why I show up. And yeah, there are different ways to connect with me. You can check in the description box. I love taking people on adventures to transform their reality from the inside out through group and one-on-one. So love you all. Thank you for being. And I feel like Gwen and I feel like this is a we'll be doing more of this. That's what I would like.
Sounds good. I love it. I love it. Let's have
Yeah, and maybe we can hop people on the call next time and have them like ask questions and stuff. Anyway, thank you everyone.
love you. Thank you all for joining us. Bye bye.
Unpredictability. Okay, bye.